Really? Testing, testing. Okay. Hello and welcome to yet another episode of the Camera Junkie live stream. I have no idea why it didn't move over to the next screen, but we won't worry about that. Welcome as always. Today is episode 170, so you heard that correct. That's 170 consecutive episodes of the Camera Junkie live stream without skipping a beat. If it's your first time here, welcome. My name's Luis, also known as Mr. Camera Junkie, where I remind you to upgrade your skills before your gear. And please be sure to introduce yourself into the chat so you can get the nice Camera Junkie crew welcome. And the tradition that we have around here is that we always go straight to the chat to see exactly who are the first ones in-house to see who's hanging out. All right, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into my new comments window. Nice. Giving that extra space, and right off the bat, who do we have here? We have Mr. Parker Jennings saying hello to everyone. Oh, look, and then they shrinkify it. Let's give this some room to breathe there. There we go. See, there we go. OCD. All right, Paul saying what's up to Parker. Gretchen's also in the house saying what's up to the crew and saying hi to Aiden. Aiden, Gretchen says hi. Oh, you're just ripping up stuff. So this is a new coloring book that Aiden just decided to rip the page off and hand to me. Let's try not to break them. Hey, listen. Let's try to not rip the pages out of the book. Let's try to be less destructive, okay? Can you give me the book? Thank you. Right now, you're on a destructive path right now, so we'll let him play with other toys that he can't just rip apart. All right, and Paul saying what's up to Gretchen as well. Says there's an overlay covering the comments. Oh my goodness. Is that what's actually like? Oh, it's in preview mode. That's horrible. You know what? Let me go ahead and check something out because I'm going to have to. Was that what the countdown looked like? Oh. I think so. Oh my goodness. That is horrible. I don't even know if the music was coming through or anything like that. Well, we march on. This is the comments window that I was alluding to before, and what we were trying to display was comments like so, saying, "What's up?" Oh my God, it's also playing now on the other window. Come on. You saw me struggling looking for my headphones and not finding them, and like all the behind the scenes stuff. In a horrible picture. You guys didn't even see the countdown. Anyway, we march on. All right. So that's the comments that I was supposedly showing. And then coming back to this, we have, you see, like that. That's what we're supposed to be seeing. Let's just say it's been a long day, long week. Okay, let's close this window out so that I'm no longer confused with it, no longer playing audio, and we're back to it. Oh, I should have known. Everything's making sense now with this stupid preview window, because of the simple fact I'm like, why did it go through the entire countdown and not switch screens and not go over to the next one? And I was like, why is it doing that? And I'm speaking all of this in this damn preview window. Like, I digress. Anyways, let's continue. Gretchen says, thanks for the picture. Says that's why we didn't see the countdown. Exactly. That's why it all makes sense now. I'm like, I'm seeing the countdown. That's the whole thing. Everything's going through the way it's supposed to, except this tiny little preview window and the yellow. Well, I wasn't paying attention to it, but yeah, the yellow block they're saying, you know, like preview. But nonetheless, says we did hear the music at least. Says I've been caught on preview mode too many times. I heard the music. All right, so we're good. All right. So we're gonna get into it. All right. So I did put a poll in the chat, so if you guys go ahead and click on that to see if you guys have actually heard of Sora AI previous to tonight's live stream, or if you know this is the first time you're hearing of it. If you haven't heard of it, let me be the first to inform you on what Sora AI is. Now, Sora is just another branch of basically the Open.AI setup. So myself and others here in chat, we've been using Chat GPT for a while now. I'm one of the paying members of Chat Pro, so the paid membership is what I actually have, and I use it for a lot of different things. You know, creating the descriptions of my YouTube videos. So what I've been doing lately is like whatever video I've been able to create, I put it into into a transcription type program, and there's a variety of different programs available right now. One that I use is Descript, and once it's actually done the transcription of the video, I just copy it as text, and then I go to Chat GPT and throw that text in there and have it make a YouTube description. A lot of times it gives me a catchy title that is not clickbaity because it's based around the context of the video, but Chad, how I reference to Chat GPT, Chad helps me, you know, create the description of the YouTube video. It helps me create the title of the YouTube video a lot of times, and also I ask it to do the channel the channel markers or the chapters in the video, so it knows exactly the time code because I'm giving it like a transcription base. So it's also able to create a time code based you know, chapters for my video, which I'm also able to throw into the description. So all the things that used to be like extremely tedious, I've kind of been able to put on the back burner and let my creativity be to the forefront, and that's what I've been able to do with Chat GPT. Now, the same company, Open.AI, has now branched out, and through all the generative creations, or the, you know, the LLMs, the large language models that they're using, that is applying all of this new, you know, push for AI and generative AI. We have the newest version called Sora, and Sora is video applied to it. So we're now able to create an entire video from prompt, which is mind-boggling. So, you know, prompt engineering is the new wave, because we need to learn how to communicate to get the most out of these systems. And through OpenAI and prompt engineering, we're now pushing onto the video side. Now there's a lot of people who are freaking out about this software, which I can see the people, that kind of like the people right at the top, maybe because it's really putting the power of creation in the hands of someone like myself. So when I first glanced over what Sora was, the first thing that I thought of was, I no longer have to spend hours and hours, and I really do mean hours upon hours, looking for stock footage. Like, you know, I have the resources and I'm very grateful for them. But a lot of times I would put a prompt or a search into, you know, the search engine to get a stock video file to insert into a video to better illustrate the point that I'm trying to get across. And when you're doing that, you can put in your search, but then just like, you know, going through a bunch of Google pages on, you know, like on a web page, you know, as you're just searching the results, you have to go through them and look at each file to see which one is suitable for you and what you'd like to represent for that moment. Right now, you basically don't have to do that anymore with Sora. You will now be able to just throw in a prompt and ask it for what you need, and this new wave of AI will be able to create a copyright free you know, like artificially intelligence version of the video just to get your point across. Now this sounds like it's far-fetched, but what I'm about to show you, as far as some of the clips and things like that, just understand that this is the worst that this technology will be. Like, everything moving forward is going to get better and better. And a year ago to this date, when the first, you know, iterations of this, it was basically unusable, right? And the only thing that it would show, the only time that you would be able to use it, is to show where the progress is at. And where we've come to from a year ago to right now is mind-boggling. So let's get into that scene to show you exactly what we're talking about here. So I'm going to go over to my share screen, which is what I was testing, because this is the screen that, you know, I'm going to be sharing stuff, and this is where all today's mayhem lies or ensued. All right, let me go ahead and actually open up this, okay, so that you guys can see. This is basically Sora. As you can see, it is from OpenAI, right? And that's it, the same company who makes ChatGPT and a lot of these large language models. So they're the first ones, and the video that you're seeing right now is the first one that you can see is being generated through AI. And it seems almost like you can see, like, there's no way that a variety of you know, paper airplanes are going to be flying through, but they almost look like arrows, like three-dimensional arrows from your cursor, right, flying over trees. And it's super interesting. But let's get into it, because I'm gonna go a little bit into detail. And this is the first video. Now let's see. I'm gonna tell you the truth, I downloaded these videos and I was gonna play them, right? But Ecamm is so dope that it allows me to do it right on the fly, so I think I'll be able to just run it from here. The reason why I brought up the web page is because I wanted to show you the actual prompt. It says a stylish woman words today. All right. A stylish woman walks down Tokyo Street filmed with warm glowing neon and animated city signage. She wears a black leather jacket and a long red dress with black boots. Now, everything else is basically up to the generative AI. Now, if we want to nitpick, yes, there's certain areas that we can tell that this is not happening in real time. Like if we look at her feet, right, you can see that her feet really do not match the floor and the movement that it's going. There's a couple of other things which I can't verify, but I don't believe that the signage is correct, or it's kind of gibberish, where all the signage and what's being prompted as far as text is not really legible. But as you can see, that this is not an actual person at all. This is completely computer generated, so this is not a model. This is something that is taken all the information that it has and understanding what humans look like, right? And then also what maybe a Japanese woman would look like, because they're saying she's walking in Japan. Now I know if you get even more into prompt engineering, where you would say like, oh, I'm looking for a let's say a Hispanic woman from the Dominican Republic, you understand, walking down a street in Santo Domingo, you understand this time of day, like this, she's wearing that, so on, and like this, you give it this type of complexion. And the more information you give the generative AI, the better your results would be. And that's exactly what my emphasis on this is like, this is the worst that it's going to be, and this is kind of just being unveiled to the world as we speak right now. Hey, what's up, Kathy? And we also have Art in the house. Let me bring those comments up here. It says it's no Will Smith eating spaghetti anymore. Exactly. So that video, what I'm talking about. But Art's also saying what's up, everybody. Let's see if we can bring that up. There we go. He's saying what's up, everybody. Oh, we lost the picture. Let's go back to... Oh no, we got our head of ourselves. Where did the other web page go? Oh, I went full screen. That's Mac life. Okay. So, getting back to it, right? Like this is the worst that is going to be. Now, there's a couple of things, there's a couple of tells which right there you can see kind of the parallax and the way that the camera's shifting. But this is amazing, because just that clip right there, if I'm gonna go right back to it, right? If you just needed that, right, for a split second, like, and this is the whole thing, her feet are kind of like what's most wobbly right there. That's done. Because when we're talking about B-roll, right, for a video, B-roll is like split seconds. Sometimes it's not even a complete second, right? Where I've done so many edits where I am using a shot or a video for 16, right? Or I would say like 15 frames, which is like half of a second. Right, only 15 frames, and this is definitely way more than 15 frames worth of usable footage, especially when a feeling or a sentiment is exactly what you're trying to get across. Yeah, Gretchen says wobbly ankles. Yeah, actually, if you pay like hella close attention to it, you would actually see that they become other legs. So it's like when she steps forward with her right leg, and when it comes back, it's actually her left leg as it's pushing back. So there's a couple of different things, and some I would call it continuity errors is the biggest thing. So let me go ahead and press play a little bit more. And this is the only video that I've actually like scrutinized a bit, right? And we're gonna look at the rest of the videos together, because I started getting so much from the video while I was, you know, like just researching it a bit before the live stream, that I realized I'm like, I don't want to say all of this stuff kind of like in my mind and not let it be like organic. I was like, I can do all of this on the live. So this part right here, like you'll see they did a close-up, and I'm really blown away with the details of like the hair, right, and the eyebrow, right, and the follicles within the hairdo itself. Like this shot right here, man, that's some serious power, right? This shot alone right here with the blurry background, right, it really goes into play with the fact that the signage doesn't even have to be legit, right? You could actually just use this shot if it weren't for just a couple of things. And I can tell you the truth, it looks like the dragon logo on the side of her glasses, right? It's a bit off, but that's negligible, right? Look at her earrings, right? The jawline. Like this is some serious leaps and bounds when it comes to this. So now we're gonna continue and play. Like right here, this is the coolest part for me, right? Most people will just see this and they're trying to like look at all of the things, but this is the part where I say this is the Matrix moment, that I was just like, oh, that's actually very interesting, because you're able to not only see the image on screen, but you're actually seeing a reflection of her environment, right, through the glasses. And what you're not seeing is the cameraman, right? You're not seeing the point of view, right? And to be so close to an individual, right, to be like so pressed up on them and have the reflection, you would automatically be seeing the camera person, right? The camera operator, the photographer, videographer, they would be in this shot right now, right? And you see the reflections, and it's just really surprising. Like right here, like where's the cameraman, right? And this is where the continuity goes, because if you look at the back of her head right now, there's additional hair to the hairstyle, right? There's added like this weird bun, but that's what you're getting with the generative AI. Like this is like, it really is next level. So you see that the hair changed and everything like that. But that's just the first video that we got to show here. So let's continue. Let me see what you guys are saying in the chat real quick. Spaghetti. Oh, okay. Paul is saying spaghetti, because that video was like super creepy, right? But it almost looked like an animated version of like a Picasso, right? Or like a motion, you know, like Van Gogh. It was very weird because of the way the animation was being stitched. But even back then, I was like, that's the worst that it was gonna get. See, Gretchen recognizes that, yeah, the reflection in the glasses, and they were pretty on point. You understand? Like the Matrix movie, the reason why I mention it is because it has that very famous part of Morpheus, Lawrence Fishburne, bringing both of the pills, you know, to Neo, which was played by Keanu Reeves. And at that moment, what most people don't recognize is that the reflections within the eye both show Morpheus, but only one pill is being, you know, shown in each reflection, which is not really typical towards those glasses. So it's a special effect that they did, but to kind of illustrate. And if we go back to this Sora lady's glasses, right? On top of that, we're not seeing that effect. Let's go back. Actually, you know what? I'm in the wrong shot. The share screen. Boop. There we go. Right. Let me go ahead and run this back a bit. The first time that they show the reflection. Head on. Let's see. Yeah. Let me see if I could illustrate that. Are you guys seeing? Do you guys see my cursor? I think you do. If you are able to see my cursor, you'll see that I'm highlighting this yellow dot, right? As the lines go. And you're still able to see the similar lines and then the remainder of that. So that's where I'm saying, like, it's getting more of a matrix effect where it's giving you similar types of view from each image, but in all sincerity, you would be seeing the photographer and a very similar image in both reflections. So that's where you can really nitpick and go like, okay, that's where I can tell the differences. But at a glance, and you're just watching this for the first time, this is stupid good. All right, so let's go to the next one. This is a prompt. This is a very short 25-second clip. Historical footage of California during the gold rush. This is an aerial shot. Now, I really doubt that they had so much, you know, like, what would be the word? So much expansion. Like, for example, like, this is just me being a historian, right? You know, and having the information as it pans over to the right, I don't see, like, there's a lot of as you can see, like, buildings. There's like a lot of housing, and that looks like a fully established town in a neighborhood in today's economy. So I really wouldn't think that this would have been happening during the gold rush, but I digress, because this is, like I said, once again, the worst that this is gonna be. And to having an aerial, like a helicopter shot, so to speak, of something that you can just fill in for old-timey footage, it really is next level. Now let me see what else I can tell. I'm just looking at this for the first time and like nitpicking it with you guys. Yeah, there was like a half horse. I don't know if I could point it out with the mouse. Right here in this area. Is that coming through? Hopefully. There's this horse, what looks like two horses, a white one and a brown one, right? And then the brown horse ends up just being like half a horse, just being like the front two legs, right? Almost as if it were a person in a horse costume, and more horses than humans out here, right? As if like they were running the streets. So that's what I would, you could nitpick, but man, just this shot right here, right? That looks great. And what really impresses me with this shot is that it's got an old-timey film look. Like, it's trying to put you into it. Like, this looks like what the TV show MASH, right, used to look like. For me, like footage of, like the war, saying Vietnam back in the day, right, being superimposed onto a television show. But that is what this gives me the feels of. Like, it gives me that feeling of old-timey footage. What is that? I just saw a monster come out of the water, right? So let's go back. Let me see if we can right where that horse is at, where I was telling you, like right here. Let's see if we can see that. I need to get a better way to zoom into this area, right? But this area right here, right? Let's keep an eye into that. And out of the water, whoa, a horse just disappeared, apparently. Yeah, so there was a horse there, right? Or something like it, and it just disappears, and then there's a monster that comes out of the water. It almost looks like it's walking out. That's hella creepy. But this is one thing that I can honestly tell you. What's an industry that can use this technology right now is probably the horror industry, because you can pretty much make like anything come out of anything through a prompt, and it would be probably one of the scariest and freakiest things that you would see. Let me see what you guys are saying. Oh, Spachi is in the house. Let me go ahead and go over to my other screen. No, what? That's last week's show. What is going on here? There we go. All right. Spachi is saying Sora, impressive. Editors will be dissecting the future of content creation from now on. Hello, Luis. And Paul, I believe, is agreeing with him. What? Check this out. There's a guy running for Congress in California that's using AI in his campaign commercials. That is crazy. It says infrastructure. Yeah, buildings. Yep, too much. Yeah, there was too much. Yeah, infrastructure. There was too many buildings in general, right? So that's where you would, because that just looked like they've been there for hundreds of years. Microsoft, end of 2023, announced a multi-year, multi-billion-dollar investment in Open.AI, the creator of Sora and ChatGPT-4. Yeah, that's... I'll go show you. Actually, you know what? We should be in my comments window, right? So that it has space to breathe. So that, you see? It's not all over my face. That's why we built it last week. Because it does look like some area in Eastern Oregon, right? The Oregon Trail. K-Wall's like, MASH was supposed to be a Korean war, but lasted longer than the actual war. See? Look at that. That's so funny. So look at all the chimneys in each building. I was looking at that, and there was one that looked like it had like a rooftop garden. And I was like, yeah, that wouldn't be... that's kind of luxurious for the gold rush. But I digress, right? But that's what I'm saying. Like, if you nitpick it, if you pixel peep it, and you just like, you know, yeah, you're gonna see all, you're gonna nitpick it. You're gonna find all the things that are wrong with these videos. Hey, Wixie's in the house. Says you weren't supposed to notice that. AI is taking notes. It says we're all Albert is actually saying, it says we're lucky to be in content creation during this era, guys. I think so, right? It's gonna be so cool where I'm gonna be able to, honestly, like the first implementation that I thought of was like, this is gonna save me so much time when I need to find something. So let's say it's something as simple or something that's very well known, right? Like I want to say, hey, I want a video of a Pomeranian dog, right? You know, like playing what is or sitting, right? Doing the command to sit, right? And then rolling over and doing all the, like the standard stuff. You got it. And because of this power, then now this is a video that's licensed to you, so to speak, instead of it being, you know, copyright stricken and, you know, having to jump through all these hoops because you just wanted to show a Pomeranian dog doing a couple of tricks. I think this is just going to be a no-brainer. Kathy says, that's the scary part of AI, how it may be used to misinform people and the people can't be trusted to discern the truth. That's scary, but it's not because of AI, in my opinion. It's scary because that's the degradation of like the average US person's mind, right? Like, I know that I have the discernment to tell the difference, and it's sad that the majority of people do not, right? But this has been going on for years. Like, this is what people are thinking right now. Like, they're getting all like, you know, like what they say, their feathers in a ruffle, right? I've been seeing Facebook videos that people are like been going viral, and I'm like, it's so fake. How can you not tell it's fake? But the average person, well, we go back to it, cannot tell the difference, and that's why some of these videos have gone viral in the first place. You know how many videos, and let's think about like 5 years ago, you would go on Facebook and you would see a video of somebody hopping into a bubble, right? Which was like a car, and then it would just start rotating, and you see this person drive off down the street, and people are like, oh my God. In China, they're making the newest like types of mobility vehicles, like in these like orbs, and I'm like, none of that's real. None of that's real. That's like, in all sincerity, that's like thinking, you know, this movie, which I love so much, Back to the Future, that's like thinking that hoverboards are real, right? And that like that's like oh, I saw it in a video. I'm like, man, I guess just growing up in this aspect, right, of just knowing the behind the scenes aspect of like movies, right, and always being interested in that, you kind of know that it's all movie magic, so to speak. So whether it's digital, right, or you know, done through special effects, it's all the same to me. Okay, Gretchen's got a question. Says, does Sora only create realistic videos, or can it create animated style? I believe it's going to be able to create whatever you want, but right now it's not even open to us, right? It's not even in beta stages. I say it's in the like, it's not even in beta for public use. So only the people and the minds within Open.AI, those are the people who have access to it. Maybe just a far few, right? But it's not available to even the paying members of ChatGPT, not just yet. Kathy says, have you tried to put a video request into Sora? And is that the same engine as... No, actually, this is, like I said, there is no option for it. So let me see. Can I bring that window back up? Did I close it? Okay, let's go back to it. Share screen. Oh, I'm still in full screen. That's what's going on. Okay, there we go. As you can see, like, I can go into it and I can read information about it, but I don't have access to it, because if not, I would honestly be telling you, we would with the words, we would have already been prompting, and I would have been showing you some videos that I made today, right? If I have access. So if you haven't done so already, please be sure to like and subscribe this video, right? Subscribe and hit that bell so that whenever this does come out, you know I'm going to be talking about it. This is going to be like front page. I was really hoping that I would have access to it, but as of right now, nobody does. But man, oh, okay, let's continue. Now this is, what's the prompt? It says, this is a camera follows behind a white vintage SUV with a black roof rack. It speeds up a steep dirt road surrounded by pine trees in a steep mountain slope. Dust kicks up from ... It says more. So let's see. Can we read more? Yep. Oh, this one's getting details. It kicks up from his tires. The sunlight is shines on the SUV as it speeds along the dirt road, casting a warm glow over the scene. The dirt road curves gently into the distance with no other cars or vehicles in sight. The trees on either side of the road are redwoods with patchy greenery scattered throughout. You see, they got into some real detail on this video, right? The car seen from the rear following the curves with ease, making it seem as if it was a rugged drive through the rugged terrain. The dirt road itself is surrounded by steep hills, mountains, with a clear blue sky above the whipsy clouds. Take a look at that, man. It says Danover. You know, what kind of truck do you think it was trying to represent there, right? A Range Dover, right? A Dandover, something like that. So it does look like a vintage, Land Cruiser, actually. It looks more like a Toyota Land Cruiser than a Range Rover. Now, once again, I can nitpick because I'm a big car guy as well, right? That you can tell certain areas where the tires in the front are not really addressed to where it's being driven, right? Like the tires are steering
over, it really doesn't look like the tires themselves are moving in the back, and the smoke is not coming directly from the tires, right? Like it's being kicked up. It actually looks like it's being generated from the back, like it's more of a smoking vehicle. But as far as the prompt goes, this looks great, because if you were to just remove the vehicle itself, right, and let's just say that you're creating this as a view, a scenic view, then this could be the basis of a video game even, right? Like where this is the track, and now all you have to do is basically create the vehicle that drives on this track, right? And that's just, it really does look good. Like what really impresses me more than anything on this shot, let me see if I could pause it when we get to it. Okay, let's see, is the mountains in the background. So right here, when it makes this left, right, look at the, like what would be showing right here as far as the video, what you're seeing right in this area, upper left, right, of the shot, you're seeing like mountain ranges and mountain passes that are moving correctly as far as parallax goes. So that's just dope as hell. So let's see what's the next one. Okay, this is tour of an art gallery with many beautiful works of art in different styles. Now this was really trippy, because now we can look and nitpick, right, at the art itself, right, and you're like, okay, well, you know, these photos inside, right, the actual artwork, like the one of this person in the blue, right, it almost looks like they have 3 feet, right? But at the same time, then who can say that that's not what the artist intended in the first place, right? Like you know, like if you were to put a Picasso painting up in this piece, you really wouldn't be able to tell the difference. So, you know, let's say once again you're just trying to get your point across, right, and you're saying, like, let's say you were at a museum, right, and you need this for like 6 frames. This is perfection. And the fact that I can get something this good in the future from a prompt, comparative to the amount of time that, like, even if I were to nail the download of a video through a website, right, if I'm downloading stock video, even if I were to get it on the first video, it's still going to take a lot longer than any prompt generation. And this is the whole thing. Like, even when this first comes out, I don't expect it to be perfect either. But this is damn good. This is damn good, man. Now, this is where you can see some serious issues, right? Or where they're still working things out, right? Stepped printing scene of a person running cinematic film shot in 35 millimeter. Now, it has motion, like the motion handling of somebody being live, which is very interesting. He's on the treadmill backwards. There's a couple of different times where, you know, like his legs and his feet do not match, they merge. And there's also like a hitch to him, right, where it's almost like he's going like this, and that, like, he kind of like pauses for a split second, and it almost looks like it's like a salsa dance that he's doing, like right? But those are just nitpicking once again. And well, they did say cinematic shot on 35 millimeter film, which is probably why I think it went black and white. But once again, guys, this is the worst that it's going to be. Now, this is another video. Wow, that looks very colorful. It says camera directly faces colorful buildings in Burano, Italy. Okay, that's what I was gonna say. Like, the location looked very specific, right? The architecture with the colors and everything. I'm like, so it's in Italy. An adorable Dalmatian looks through the window on a building on the ground floor. Many people are walking around, and there's more. And cycling along the canal streets in front of the buildings. Now, it it really I think it did a great job with the dog as far as the Dalmatian. Now, yeah, like there's some weirdness with the tongue, like as it sticks out right now, but right there, right, and there. But let's look at the positives, right? Let's look at the movement, the placement of like the paws of the dog, the shadow that's being cast in real time of the dog. Now, to my recollection, and I'm not too big on, you know, like all dogs, but it doesn't look too much like an actual Dalmatian to me. It looks like a dog with Dalmatian type spots, but I could be wrong, right? I just doesn't have the features of a Dalmatian to me. But once again, I'm not the biggest in the dog culture, but that's what I'd be looking at, and that's kind of what I noticed. Now, I also noticed a man over to the right on the further side of the video, right? It like looks faceless, looks very interesting, but it's only there for a split second. And through editing, that's stuff that you would cut out, right? So right there, I would start any clip, but man, just right there, that would be more than enough. That would be way more than enough. Do we have anything else? No, that's it as far as Sora goes. And look what it says. It says all videos on this page were generated directly by Sora without modification. And that's exactly what we're dealing with right now. So let's go back to the main shot here. What did I just do? That was a wrong button press. This, there we go. Then this, there we go. All right. Actually, you know what? This is the comments window that I need to get to here. So let's see where we're at here. All right. Sorry to be the one to break the news to you. That's actually a very good point. Steven says discernment is going to be a very important human skill going forward. Absolutely. Like, and this is the whole thing. Like, everyone's worried about this, right? Right now, like Paul mentioned that there was a congressman using AI in his campaigns. There's people who are saying like, oh, this is an election year, and people are automatically like using the Open.AI. Like, okay, it's not available for everyday use, but let me kind of burst your bubble already. Before we even talk about generative video, we already had oh my god, what was it called? I just had the term in my head and I'm running a blank right now. The deep fakes, right? We already had the AI that would like change the face, right? So all you would actually need was to have someone of the similar ilk to perform it in front of a camera live, and then, you know, the computers will replace the face, right? We have certain applications that do that on our iPhones so that we can create a TikTok video, right? Where you can put your face on Beyonce's music video, right? And all of that's already been out for years, and people are worried about like the video of Congress people in this new coming election. I'm like, you need to be discernment, right? You need to have discernment to be able to recognize what's real and what isn't real, and just not take what you see on a screen as real. It's unfortunate, but that's where we're at. Exactly. That's exactly what I was just saying. The quote, seeing is believing is no longer, it no longer makes sense. Well, this is the whole thing. It does make sense if you're there live, right? If it's something tangible in front of you, like I saw a car accident on I-95 because it almost affected me. I saw it happening. But if it's on a screen digitally, that's where this no longer makes sense. But that's exactly, like this is also another conversation that I've had with a lot of people for many years. It's why I don't get scared with movies, right? Like horror movies don't scare me at all because I know the behind the scenes. And I would always tell people, if you're ever scared of a movie that you're watching, press pause. Right? Just pressing pause is like lets you know, like, hey, it's, if it were real, you wouldn't be able to stop it. You wouldn't be able to pause it. And if it still affects you, I'll say press pause and then walk behind your television and recognize that it is a 2D image. And that even though it looks incredibly real because of the technology of high definition, it's still just a 2D image of something that potentially could be real, hypothetically. So it even has shadows from the trees. No, yeah, this thing is getting really good. Gretchen says I've been on that road. That's so funny. It's a school bus Jeep. Says Paul. It's going to disrupt the whole Hollywood industry. Imagine a guy in Africa creating a full Netflix movie with Sora. I don't think they'd be able to create the entire thing, especially right now. But you would have to be one hell of a writer, right? Because that's the whole thing. You would have to think of every detail, because this is where I don't see, these programs taking over, for the simple reason of the thing that I mentioned in the first video with the lady, which was the continuity, right? Like the fact that her hairstyle changed, right? That's where you would be losing out between scene to scene, and you wouldn't be able to like construe or construct something that's congruent, right? That's what be the better way of saying it. So, the entire internet flipped out when they saw a Starbucks cup on the set of Game of Thrones, right? Because if it makes you lose the immersion that you have in the fictitious reality that they're presenting to you on the television, right? Through the fantasy, right? They're selling you the fantasy of dragons and everything, right? And you're able to immerse yourself, and what you have is, the the suspension of disbelief that you have, right, while you're watching these shows, and you're able to immerse yourself into that fantasy. But as soon as you saw the Starbucks cup, it just brings you back to reality, and you're like, oh, I'm watching a show. And because you're taking out of it, you lose that immersion. And that's what I don't think that excuse me, that's what I don't think that these programs are gonna have for a while. Like, you be able to use them for stuff like this, where I would say more stock video, but I don't see an entire like motion picture or Netflix movie or documentary happening anytime soon, unless you know in advance that that's what you're getting out of it, and that you're not looking for it. Almost kind of like the way that we were watching the videos tonight, which is not true entertainment, right? When you're trying to find what's wrong with the image, it takes you out of it. Gretchen says that looks like the road through Lassen National Park, California, without the pavement. Look at that. Sammy's in the house saying hello to everyone. Says, how did the dog walk through the shutter? You see, I didn't even notice that. Said, I would be having a heart attack worried about the dog. It's funny because that's the whole thing. It didn't seem like a big ledge either. Kevin's in the house saying what's up. Yes, has everyone remembered to hit that like button? If you haven't done so, please do so. It's highly appreciated. Says that happens now when objects on a table don't make it back to the exact same spot. Oh, you see, I just saw that, and that's exactly what we're talking about, like that Starbucks cup, right? And I'm big on that, and it's like it's pattern recognition. It's not that I'm trying to be an asshole. It's just that I literally just see it, and it sticks out like a splinter in my mind, right? So whenever I'm able to pattern recognition those types of things really quick, and when I'm watching movies, even though because I watch movies totally different. Like I'll give you guys a bit of insight. Like I I wasn't probably the most pleasant person to watch a movie with, because I would constantly be pointing out all the details and picking it apart, so to speak, because of the creative mindset. So there was constantly things that my ex-wife would hate when I would just bring it up, and I would just be watching a movie and I'll be like, oh, that's completely like unreal, like that would never happen. And she wouldn't understand it, and then ask me what is it that she's missing, right? Like, why isn't it real? And then I would break it down, and once I broke it down and was able to make it make sense to her, then once again she would less enjoy the movie less, because she's like, oh yeah, that makes zero sense now that you've explained it. I'm like, yeah. So it's unfortunate, but it's not the best form of watching movies. But maybe, you never know, maybe that's why I don't even watch movies so much anymore in the first place. So it goes into that. I think more has to do with my situation with Aiden, and the fact that I decided to be in front of the camera to create content instead of just consume it has a huge difference. So Paul says, I would had to deck you. I don't know what I said, and I don't know what that means, but we'll march on. Now we're gonna go into this thing right here. Cities Gaw, channels that I think you should go and watch, right? And this week's Cities Gaw, we'll bring that up. Let's go into Cities Gaw screen. We're on the right one. There we go. Boom. Patrick Tommaso. And that's his name. It's not spelled with the letter 2, but it is for his YouTube channel. If you haven't heard of him, let me be the first to introduce you to Patrick. He's a fellow content creator on the platform. He's actually pretty much the cameraman for Gerald Dundun, which has also been on Cities Gaw, if you haven't heard of him either. But yes, he's also a content creator. I've been following him, or known of him, for years now, and this is his channel. Now, I believe he did a revamp, and ever since it was where he did the kind of name change, and he's removed some of the previous videos, but as you can see, it's still based around content creation, both video and audio, and a kind of like a camera junkie, right? Just the same way where he's not particularly stuck onto one brand. He's using Lumix, he's shooting with iPhones. I know he uses Sony with Gerald stuff, which I know he owns himself. A variety of different videos and a different view into content creation. So if you haven't heard of him previous to tonight, please be sure to check out Patrick Tommaso, Patrick Tommasso, as this week's Cities Gaw channels that I think you should go and watch. And that's it, guys. We did it. This has been another successful week of the Camera Junkie live stream. 170 episodes. And if you haven't gotten the drift already, if you're new around these parts, we do this every single week. So make sure to mark it down on your calendars that Saturday nights, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we will be going live on the Camera Junkie YouTube channel without skipping a beat. All right, we have a couple of more comments from Sammy here. It says, it was great to catch up with you. Always like to watch a stream. And he goes, oh, super cool. I guess he's talking about Patrick Tommaso. But yes, guys, as always, we will be doing it all over again right here, same time, same place next week. I'm not sure exactly what we're going to be getting into, but you can just rest assured that it's going to go off without a hitch, or maybe with some hitches like we had today with the preview mode and not missing the countdown. But if you didn't catch this week's countdown, you'll catch it next week, as we're going to be doing it all over again. Thank you, as always, for taking the time and hanging out here with me. You guys are what make this stream the best place that I want to be week in and week out. So take care of yourselves and each other, and I will see all of your smiling faces next week. Talk to you.